Welcome back to our second instalment here on Pirate Videos. And after the 2 weeks that have elapsed since we were last here at Wimborne Road, there's plenty to report on. Firstly, and unfortunately for Antonio Lindback, after the celebrations that we talked about at our last meeting in the World Under-21 Championship, where he was fancied perhaps to take the title, it was a quick exit at the semi-final stage after a controversial exclusion. And sadly, unfortunately for Antonio, he came home without the title. Well, also the weather played its hand on the Pirates' home here at Wimborne Road on Sunday. In the prestigious Elite League Riders Championship, which was due to take place here, that was cancelled due to the rain-off, or the rain that came down heavily before and during what would have been the final itself. Well, that has now been put back to October the 17th. And finally, and possibly the worst news of the last 2 weeks, was that after that fantastic victory that you saw with a 14-point advantage over the Aces, in the return match at Bellevue, well, the Pirates collapsed to a 68-25 defeat. And I have to say it meant that the Pirates have hit the headlines once again, and allegations of them throwing matches, of them not trying and them being academic, have been thrown at their door yet again.
Yes, but you know, at Bellevue we were that bad. I mean, I wasn't there, I had business to take care of, but say we were that bad. I spoke to Matt.
I know that really for the Pirates it's difficult because they do want to be careful. And is there any benefit at all if a rider were to not score now? Is that going to really make any impact on his average, which is what people are trying to tell us that is happening? I
mean, possibly there is some truth in the matter, I suppose, but I mean, I think it's one of those things where, you know, we've already made it to the final. We've done all the hard work. You know, we're now looking to build the team for next year, and I said to the boys before the meeting that, you know, I don't want them to go out and hurt themselves. And unfortunately, you know, at Oxford, Bjarne got hurt, and so, you know, you put another 10 points on, or say 10 points if Bjarne would have scored, it would have been quite a good meeting. And the track that night was very bad and very hard to ride. Okay, the Oxford boys are better than us, but I did say to them, don't do anything stupid. I mean, I'd like to, wrap them up in cotton wool till the final, and then bring them out. But you know, we have to race. It's a fact of life, and so the boys have to race.
Absolutely. Now, you've had an awful lot of personal stick, if you like. How do you view that? How does that affect you? Does it run off your back?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like when you're a manager of anything. I mean, you put yourself up on a pedestal, and people want to shoot you down, and they're entitled to their opinions. I mean, it's you know, I read various things. I don't take too much to heart anymore. I sort of been in it long enough now to not worry about it. But you know, sometimes personal slights against me, I think, are unfounded, and I think that's out of order when people. Because I mean, there's nobody who has more passion for Team GB or Poole than myself, and I want to win every match I'm in. Let's be honest. I'm an ex-racer, and that's what I did. I raced, and I still got racing blood in me, and I just never want to lose a meeting. And as I say, it doesn't bother me anymore. People they have their opinions, they're entitled to it. But as I say, keep it to the facts. You know, and unless you know the facts, don't comment.
Well, Magnus, hopefully better things for the Pirates tonight, and they can get their heads down and think about really going forward.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we really want to go out there and show now that we can win, you know, and because we have had a bit of a tough time when we have been struggling, and but it's also tough when meeting doesn't mean anything, to go out there and to do something good, you know. We have had a lot of testing going on as well, but unfortunately not on the good side. But that's how Speedway is, you know, and a lot of teams want to beat Poole. So when you have a time when things going a bit bad, it's easy to beat us. So we're just going to try to get our head together now and start getting in form again for the playoffs.
I've been trying to get my head around the idea that riders, obviously with the schedules that you complete, riders are obviously physically so tired. Is having a break from the cut and thrust of league racing, is that likely to benefit the Pirates, or is it likely to be harder not to have the run of consistent matches?
I think it's good to have a bit of a time off now, but you know, it's tough to say what's right or wrong. If I had the answer, you know, it's probably suits some riders and it doesn't suit other riders. So it's probably, yeah, I can't really say if it's good for the team or not.
Okay, well, we're looking forward to a slightly different formula tonight. Should be good.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, the Pirates are obviously anxious to get in as much action as they can before the playoffs. And tonight we revert to a challenge match with our friends from across the coast, Eastbourne Eagles. The Eastbourne Eagles, of course, finished their season on Monday night when they were eliminated in the playoffs, which we witnessed on Sky, at the hands of Ipswich.
Yeah, it's obviously ended it on a sort of a fairly low note, us going out and David missing from the team. So yeah, he's been a very valuable, invaluable member of the team, I guess you'd say, this year, because his contributions have been tremendous.
Of course, having Nicki in the side as well this year, having the two of them at the spearhead, that's really turned that season around, and it has been a successful year all year. It's just now when it really matters is the time when you want the best form, and it hasn't worked out.
Yeah, that's right. They were the top two like that. It was hard hard for any teams to sort of make any sort of impact in the later races, and I was sort of hoping myself to get up to be one of the heat leaders this year, or top heat leaders, but with those two in the team it was very difficult. So but no, they've really led from the front, and it's just where we've sort of struggled a little bit in the lower sections of the team where we've sort of I think a lot of things have gone wrong there, because we've had a lot of injuries to reserve riders and so forth.
Okay, well, you battled through. For your part, I've got to say that you have had a good season, despite the fact that you say maybe you would have liked to have done better. But unfortunately tonight, Poole, I know, is not one of your favourite tracks, is it?
No, I've never had any real luck here. I think that's not really anything too much wrong with the track. I think it's just more that they always have a good side here and they ride it better than I do. But we've walked it tonight and the track looks probably the best I've seen it. So I won't say too much, because I might not really make any use of that anyway, but no, it does look good, and I want to certainly turn this around to being another one of the tracks that I look forward to going to.
That'd be nice. And of course it's a bit of a patched up team tonight, because although you're missing a couple of regulars, it's also 8 men in the side to find, so that's probably proved its problems as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think when we've got some injuries, then you've got to find an extra rider. It's sort of going to be difficult, but it's not a bad looking team tonight that we've got, and we know all the guys really well. It's not as if we're sort of riding with people who we've never met before. So they're all good guys that we get along with well, and let's hope that we can put on a good match tonight.
We're looking forward to it. Thanks for talking to us.
Cheers.
Well, tonight may indeed be another academic event for the Pirates, but nonetheless it does give them the chance to run out. It gives them a chance to maybe try one or two things as well. And it's going to be a fascinating evening with 8-man teams and a completely different formula and 2 nominated races at the end. Well, let's waste no more time. Let's go and join Rob and Graham over on the second bend, and let's catch up with the racing, of course.
Well, thank you, Nigel, and the riders just lining up for Heat 1 of this challenge fixture, with Poole taking grids 2 and 4 in this one. It means Bjarne PEDERSEN in the red helmet will go on grid 2, in his partner Krzysztof KASPRZAK, not his usual Elite League partner, but his partner for tonight anyway, and he's in blue from gate 4. The Eastbourne, it looks like Arena Eastbourne tonight, because they've got a mixture of their own riders, such as those still standing in and left in one piece, but they've borrowed 3 guests from Arena Essex. They've got Poole Harry on grid 1 in red, in green, and Sebastian TRESSERU, their new signing from the Isle of Wight, in yellow on grid 3. As the tapes go up and away they go. That's an excellent start from Bjarne PEDERSEN, and an equally good one from Krzysztof KASPRZAK, as the Pirates take the first bend advantage, with Poole Harry in 3rd place and Sebastian TRESSERU right at the back. So Bjarne PEDERSEN seems like he's carrying on where he left off here last time we were at Wimborne Road for the match against Bellevue, and pulling well clear now, equally so, and of course the league playoffs still 10 days away, the final of the playoffs. The Pirates' primary business here tonight is to keep some match practice and to get themselves in good shape for that big showdown against either the Wolverhampton Wolves or the Ipswich Witches. Well, they've gone the right way about it in Heat 1, because they've taken maximum points, with a win there for Bjarne PEDERSEN, 2nd place to Krzysztof KASPRZAK, Poole Harry and Sebastian TRESSERU bring up the minor places. Maximum start for the Rias Pirates. On to Heat 2, familiar figure in the yellow helmet of Davey WATT, former Pirate for earlier part of this season. He's now in the Eastbourne lineup. He goes in the yellow helmet, paired up with an all-Aussie pairing of Adam Shields in the green helmet. We've got Matej FERJAN and Daniel Davidsson for the Pirates on 1 and 3. Great start that by Matej FERJAN, but a better one by Adam Shields, somewhat surprisingly, but Matej FERJAN disposes of his challenge very early, coming out of the pit bend there. Matej FERJAN is good from the start, but also a very good first bend rider. Once he gets that throttle underway and unleashes that power, he's well away. But a little bit worryingly for the Pirates, not a good start at all for Daniel Davidsson. I think the bike is definitely playing up there, because we know what a good starter he's been for much of the season. So I'm sure that he'll be most unhappy about that, because he does pride himself on some quick getaways. In the meantime, Adam Shields and Davey Watt holding the middle positions to square the heat off. Matej FERJAN comfortably out in front, not busting a gut. Adam Shields, not always a particularly prolific point scorer on this track, but he takes a good second place that time. And with Davey Watt third, it's a 3-3 drawn race, and it moves the progressive total in this challenge fixture on to 8 points to 4 in favour of the Pirates. So we're now on to heat number 3. We've got Grand Prix rivals in this one, in the shape of Ryan Sullivan, goes from grid 4 in red, and of course the current world champion, albeit not for many more days, but he's still the reigning champion. Of course, that's Nicki PEDERSEN. He's in the green helmet, and he's right alongside Ryan. He's on grid 3. And in this one, for the Pirates, we've got skipper Magnus ZETTERSTROM. He goes from grid 2 in blue, and the youngster making his way in the Eastbourne lineup in the Elite League, as well as regular Premier League racing, of course, and that's promising young England star Edward Kennett. That's the way they line up, as up go the tapes, and Kennett gets in a superb gate from grid 1, but Sullivan gets a better one from 4, and that will gladden the eyes of Pirates supporters, because Ryan's been a little bit up and down lately. In fact, he doesn't appear to have a huge amount of speed there, because Nicki PEDERSEN has worked his way around Magnus ZETTERSTROM and past his own team partner, and he's hunting down Ryan Sullivan. But Ryan is out in front. He seems to be pretty steady. Nicki PEDERSEN, that ever present menace on your back wheel, and I'm sure these riders know exactly what they can expect when Nicki's out. But Ryan seems to be keeping it screwed on with a lap to go. He's out in front, and it could be another share of the points, because Magnus ZETTERSTROM has made very little impression on Edward Kennett. But the battle is for the lead, as Ryan Sullivan comes out of the fourth turn there on the final lap to take the checkered flag ahead of Nicki PEDERSEN. Edward Kennett takes a good third place, Magnus trailing off in last there. He'll want to do something about that before he comes out for his next outing. But meanwhile, the shared race makes it 11-7 in favour of the Pirates. So it's heat 4, and an interesting race in prospect here, because we've got Thomas Chojnowski making his return to the Pirates in blue. Got Antonio Lindback, his partner, and against them we've got Leigh LANHAM and Dean Barker. And that is a very good start by Chojnowski here, obviously out to impress, having just qualified for the Grand Prix. And his partner Antonio Lindback takes full advantage of that rather disastrous turn 3 there by Leigh LANHAM to come through and join Chojnowski. Chojnowski flying from the gate, and if he's here to advertise his racing prowess for a possible inclusion in Elite League, maybe with the Pirates next season, he's going the right way about it so far, because he's really flying, and he's all action. Antonio Lindback almost steady by comparison, tucked in on the line in second place, just gets marginally out of shape halfway around that turn there, but with the checkered flag in sight now, Thomas Chojnowski makes it a winning return here to Wimborne Road in the Pirates colours, and he takes the checkered flag ahead of Antonio Lindback, Leigh LANHAM and Dean Barker taking the minor places. It's a 5-1 to the Pirates, who now lead by 16 points to 8.
So come on in, Armstead. I know you're going to give him a round of applause for the man in blue, Thomas Chojnowski and Antonio Lindback. So, as the boys celebrate, let's give you the full and official result of heat number 4, kindly sponsored by Steve Miller Removals, UK and European.
Heat 5 coming up now, and it's Matej FERJAN in red on grid 2. Daniel Davidsson goes from 4 in blue. In yellow on 1, Sebastian TRESSERU. and Paul Hurry in the green helmet goes from grid 3. So what can Daniel Davidsson do this time from grid 4? He had a very disappointing start in heat 2, and maybe that was something to do with grid 3, which not ideal starting conditions so far this evening. Up go the tapes. Matej FERJAN gets a good one, and this time Daniel Davidsson does shoot from the tapes, and away he goes with Matej FERJAN, having a little dalliance with Sebastian TRESSERU on the first bend there, just as if to say, well, I'm sorry, but that's my place, and tucks in behind his partner. And this looks set for 5-1. This will make everybody in the main grandstand, which is substantially full here tonight, despite the fact that this is not our normal race night. It's a Thursday instead of a Wednesday, and of course it's a challenge match. Nevertheless, good turnout here, probably as good as any Elite League club would get for a league fixture. But the Pirates are going to celebrate with a 5-1, because with half a lap to go, Daniel Davidsson shows the sort of form that the faithful here be wanting to see to display in the playoffs. And his partner Matej FERJAN finishing in second. And once again, the Eastbourne pairing of Poole Hurry and Seb TRESSERU yielding a 5-1. So it means that the Pirates move on to 21. And the Eagles select on to 9.
After 5 heats down here at Wimborne Road. So come on, ladies and gentlemen, in the home straight.
So we move on to heat 6. Magnus ZETTERSTROM has another go. See if he can follow the example of Daniel Davidsson and follow a last with the first. He goes from grid 1 in the blue helmet. He's got Adam Shields alongside him in green. We've got Ryan Sullivan in grid 3 in red helmet. And fast skating Davey WATT goes from grid 4 in the yellow helmet. So 3 out of 4 Aussies and a Swede for good measure. And the Pirates here comfortably in the lead. And I think focus of attention this time should be on Magnus, because gate 1 has been pretty good so far. It provided all heat winners, or a paid second in the case of the Pirates. So can Magnus capitalise on it? He gets a fairly good start, but unfortunately not as good as the rider in Greenham Shields, who zaps out, and Magnus lets his colleague and team partner Ryan Sullivan around him, but Adam Shields flying from grid 2 there. And, I'm not sure that Ryan Sullivan's going to make too much of an impression on him, and Magnus equally tucked in third place, so they're getting quite spaced out at this stage. And as we come around turn 4 on lap 2, Adam Shields takes the yellow flag. He seems to be pulling out a bit of a lead on Ryan Sullivan. Once again, another example that shows that Ryan is by no means invincible around here. Not too bad if he gets out to start, but still not really shaken off these late season blues that have seen him his performance dip just a little bit by his own very, very high standards, of course. And he gives second best that time to Adam Shields. It's a 3-3 because Magnus ZETTERSTROM takes third place and Davey WATT trailing at the back there. So scoreline after 6 races, 24 to the Pirates and 12 to the Eagles. Heat 7 and the lineup, Nicki PEDERSEN on grid 1, Thomas Chojnowski on 2, Edward Kennett on grid 3, and Antonio Lindback gate 4. So interesting matchup here between Nicki PEDERSEN, goes from pole position on grid 1. What can Thomas Chojnowski, who's pretty sharp from the grid in his opening ride, but is he sharp enough for Nicki PEDERSEN? We're about to find out. Up go the tapes, and no, I don't think Nicki's having any of it at all. Gets a good gate and drifts to, shall we say, a mid-track, a la PEDERSEN style. Chojnowski then was right there, but obviously didn't have a good enough start to counter that first bend Nicki PEDERSEN move. Meanwhile, Antonio Lindback, who was off the outside grid, has tucked in there. Well, I say tucked in, he's not really tucked in because he's having a real old blast. And Edward Kennett isn't that far away in 4th 4th spot, but Nicki PEDERSEN flying out in front. Thomas Chojnowski in second, with Antonio doing the team riding bit, which we've seen quite a lot of in the latter part of the season, particularly since Matej FERJAN came into the team. And Nicki PEDERSEN now about to take the checkered flag. Thomas Chojnowski in second, and Antonio Lindback third. The Pirates share the heat. We're just hearing that Eastbourne did confirm Nicki PEDERSEN as a tactical ride before the race. I'm sure that wasn't done after, despite the great temptation to do it. But Nicki PEDERSEN there will have his points doubled if that's the case, although being a challenge match, it is a home and away challenge fixture for a trophy, so the Eastbourne Eagles and John Cook will obviously want to keep the scoreline down in readiness for Saturday's return fixture of this Stand the Stalker challenge fixture. Right, let's take hold of all that, and it's a 6-3 heat win to Eastbourne. It's 27 now to the Rias Pirates and 18 to the Eagles, and that's about it for heat 7. Time for heat 8 then. Bjarne PEDERSEN has the luxury of a grid 1, and as I say, grid 1 continuing to dominate the proceedings so far this evening. Alongside him in grid 2 we've got Dean Barker. On grid 3, Krzysztof KASPRZAK, and the other Arena Essex rider drafted in tonight at short notice to take the place of Jonas Kilmakorpi. That's Leigh LANHAM. He goes in green from grid 4. So what can Bjarne PEDERSEN do here? He'll obviously be expected to shoot from the tapes, having the advantage of grid 1. I wonder if Krzysztof KASPRZAK can get another one of his good starts, and whether Bjarne will be able to team ride him, or whether Krzysztof will be left to his own devices and tuck in behind. That's something of a prediction, but it doesn't always work like that, and it hasn't this time, because Krzysztof KASPRZAK missed the gate completely, and Dean Barker was in there to spoil the chances of a 5-1. Krzysztof KASPRZAK did neatly switch back to the inside line, doing one of his first bend cutbacks. But now he's setting out in pursuit of Dean Barker. We haven't had too much overtaking action here this evening, but I wonder if Krzysztof KASPRZAK can do something about Dean Barker, who's currently in second place. Comfortably out in front for the Pirates then is Bjarne PEDERSEN. Just a question of whether Dean Barker, back in his old Eastbourne Eagles racing colours, having ridden for the Hammers so far this season, but literally got Krzysztof KASPRZAK breathing down his exhaust pipe, and Krzysztof deciding he's going to try the long way around here, but not too much room there, and as he comes to take the checkered flag, he has to be content with third place. Dean Barker was certainly sharp from the tapes there in grid 2. So 4-2 to the Pirates, and it's 31 points to 20 the scoreline. So with an 11-point advantage then, we Pirates line up for heat 9. Ryan Sullivan on grid 1 in red. Magnus ZETTERSTROM in the blue helmet goes from 3. Between those, the Arena Essex rider Poole Hurry. He's in green, and he's of course on grid 2. Sebastian TRESSERU, Frenchman in yellow helmet, goes from grid 4. That's the lineup then for heat 9. Interesting, Ryan Sullivan and Magnus ZETTERSTROM. I think the form of these two riders as we approach the playoffs will be absolutely key to the Pirates' title aspirations. Up go the tapes, and certainly from a starting point of view there, Ryan Sullivan was absolutely hot away, and Poole Hurry in the green helmet is off in pursuit. Magnus ZETTERSTROM in third place, and Pirates shaping up for another heat advantage here with a 4-2. That was a really superb start from Ryan. The way he's riding at the moment, I think he is very much dependent on his starting prowess, which of course, as you saw there, has not by any means deserted him, and he's blasting away out in front, pulling further and further away from Poole Hurry, and Magnus ZETTERSTROM sitting steadily between the two Eagles in this one. and holding that third place. Of course, it is the crucial third places that will often determine the outcome of important fixtures. If Magnus is able to do this in the playoffs, I think we'll be well pleased. But there's 4-2 advantage to the Pirates, who now lead by 35 points to 22. So 13 points the advantage.
Was on a mission on 2CR this morning.
Interesting move in Heat 10, and John Cook nominates Adam Shields for a tactical ride, so he's not got a green helmet, he's got a black and white one. He goes from grid 3. Davey WATT, his Aussie compatriot and teammate tonight, goes in yellow from grid 1. Pirates pairing of Antonio Lindback and Thomas Chojnowski on grids 2 and 4 respectively. Antonio in red and Thomas in blue. So what can the two Pirates do against the two Aussies? And of course we've got Adam Shields there. Eastbourne will be hoping that he can fully capitalise on the tactical ride move by getting a full 6 points, as they did with Nicki PEDERSEN a little earlier in the proceedings. So just a little bit of gamesmanship on the start line here. Not quite sure who the guilty party is, but they all seem to be pulling into line now. What can Adam Shields do in the black and white helmet on grid 3? And not such a good start there because, oh, I don't know though, he's pretty useful. He's screwed it on. Actually, that was a very good first bend there. I did him injustice. He didn't actually make the start there, but Thomas Chojnowski at the back there, getting into trouble with the air fence, so he's trailing in last place. Adam Shields wasn't quick from the takes, but he screwed it on round the first bend, and he certainly left Antonio Lindback looking second best, but Antonio now setting off in pursuit of Adam Shields. Adam taking a wider line. Antonio so far has been taking it much tighter and is inching up and looks like he's coming through up the inside line, but the two of them go into the bend there pretty tightly. Adam Shields trying to clamp down on Lindback. In fact, Lindback's going to have to look for a wider line. He does this time. Goodness me, did he get some acceleration into that bend. I don't think I've seen a rider this season go in that fast, and he's taken that race there on the run in. We'll have to have another look at that because that was absolutely sensational. Antonio Lindback, he saw that Shields was taking it a lot tighter on the last lap, and so he only had one choice, take to the dirt, but he really did accelerate into that turn 3 on the last lap there, and that was an excellent pass because Adam Shields wasn't hanging around, and quite rightly he's coming round to take the full acclaim of this crowd here and a wheelie to celebrate. But let's just have another look at that final bend there. You can see he hadn't done the inside challenge on turns 1 and 2, but as he comes up the back straight, he goes straight out into the dirt, winds it on. Look at that speed there, and as he comes around turn 4, he just goes past Adam Shields almost like he was standing still, takes the checkered flag. That was a ride to bring any meeting to life, and it certainly has done here tonight. On to Heat 11, and the line-up for this one with the interval score 38-26. Bjarne PEDERSEN in the red helmet, Krzysztof KASPRZAK in blue, Krzysztof on grid 1, Bjarne on grid 3. It's Nicki PEDERSEN in the green helmet from grid 4, and Edward Kennett going from grid 2. So it's the battle of the Pedersens, Bjarne and Nicki. Who's going to be top Dane? And here they are out together in Heat 11. So just bringing them into line now. And away they go, slight pause there at the start, and Nicki PEDERSEN gets a very good one, but Krzysztof KASPRZAK is on the inside line. Nicki PEDERSEN looking to go around, and Bjarne PEDERSEN had a particularly bad start that time, and he's only just about managing to go around the outside of Edward Kennett, so I don't think he's going to get much of a shout at Nicki PEDERSEN because Krzysztof KASPRZAK's tucked in second place. I don't think he's going to make any impression either, but the Pirates are going to be content, or have to be content, with a share of the spoils this time, because spearheading the Eastbourne Challenge here this evening, we've got Nicki PEDERSEN out in front. This will be his second win, of course. With that 6 points from his previous ride, he'll actually move his total on to 11, but that's 8 in old money, and he just had that one reversal at the hands of Ryan Sullivan, which as the racing progresses is beginning to look better and better on Ryan's account. But that time then, Nicki PEDERSEN takes the checkered flag. It's a 3-3 draw, and the scoreline 41 to the Pirates and 29 to the Eagles. On to Heat 12, and riders in this one Matej FERJAN, Daniel Davidsson, Leigh LANHAM and Dean Barker for the Eagles. So LANHAM on 1, Daniel Davidsson on 2, Dean Barker, yellow helmet, goes from 3, and Matej FERJAN, who has got a win and a second place, and a second place behind his partner, so he's unbeaten so far, and he's on the wide outside in the red helmet. So waiting for the release of the tapes for Heat 12. Pirates are 41 points to 29 to the good, so 12 in front. Oh, a little bit of movement there by Daniel Davidsson, and the referee didn't really like the look of that, and immediately flashes the red light, so we're going to have a restart, and it's all 4 back.
All 4 riders back for the restart of heat number 12.
So it's the restart then, having had that false alarm, or full start. Remember, it's Leigh LANHAM on 1, and Dean Barker on 3, Daniel Davidsson 2, Matej FERJAN on 4. They're away more cleanly this time, and once again, Matej FERJAN on the outside, not fast from the tapes, but certainly screws it on up the back straight, and Daniel Davidsson out in front. Matej FERJAN there looked as if he, oh dear, and that was a tumble there. Matej FERJAN so lucky to avoid the fall in Eastbourne Road. The referee hasn't actually stopped the race yet, although the red flags are. I don't quite know what's happening there. Really don't know what's happening there. A certain amount of confusion. Red flags shown, but no red light on. Whether the red light wasn't working or the referee didn't show it, I'm not sure. But it was quite, well, we'll have to have another look at that. It looks to me as if...
horrendous sort of touch, so to speak. With
yeah, I think the rider in yellow there who fell, Dean Barker, and now that yellow light is on. What was the confusing point there was that there was no red light, only a red flag. Have another look at that, and going into the bend, Matej FERJAN goes very wide there. He's obviously looking to line Dean Barker up a drop under, and as he tries to drop under, Dean Barker falls, and how Matej has missed him there, I just don't know. A horrific accident, narrowly avoided, more by luck than judgment, but thank goodness. But Dean Barker excluded, 3 riders in the restart. Okay, we're coming up for the 3rd attempt to start Heat 12. This time we're down to 3 riders, with Dean Barker having been excluded as the cause of that stoppage. Matej FERJAN then in red, Daniel Davidsson in blue, and just Leigh LANHAM for the Eastbourne Eagles. Well, apart from maintaining form, the other prerequisite of these challenge matches is that they should be injury-free, and thankfully, despite the closeness of that one, they still are. And this time, we see Daniel Davidsson once again getting a great start from grid 2. Matej FERJAN there looked as if he'd made it from the outside, and then got all out of shape on turn 2, and puts that to rights there by coming around turns 3 and 4 and getting a little more comfortable, tucking in behind Daniel Davidsson, but not being given an easy race by Leigh LANHAM, who's snapping away at his heels there, and in fact he's coming up for an inside challenge. Matej FERJAN then, I think he much prefers to be in the wide open spaces out in front rather than in the traffic, but he's a bit more comfortable now, although he does a rather awful hash of turn 4 there, as he quite often does. It's not his favourite bend, and he went skittling towards the fence, but got it back into shape, and has held on to 2nd place here for a maximum 5-1. So an interesting race, all sorts of things there to ponder on, but the one good thing for the Pirates is that after a disappointing opening race, Daniel Davidsson has bounced back with 2 wins, and we certainly need him to hold on to that form over the final 6 weeks of the season, with critical matches coming up. 5-1 to the Pirates. It's now 46-30 in their favour. Well, Daniel Davidsson quickly called into action in this one because Antonio Lindback had bike problems and was excluded under the time allowance in heat 13. So Daniel Davidsson comes in red on grid 1. Tomasz Chojnowski in blue goes from grid 3. We've got Sebastian TRESSERU in yellow on grid 2. And finally, completing the lineup, Poole Hurry goes from grid 4 in green. So Daniel Davidsson then goes from grid 1, gets another really good start. And Poole Hurry zapping around the outside, and Sebastian TRESSERU underneath, and Tomasz Chojnowski, after a winning start to the evening, seems to be somewhat tailing off. But fortunately for the Pirates this time, Daniel Davidsson, although he's being hunted down by Poole Hurry, he seems to be certainly an able deputy for Antonio Lindback, because he's out in front, although this is 2 races on the trot for the young Swede, and at the moment the Pirates are sharing the spoils in this one. It's going to be a drawn race if it stays like this, although Poole Hurry really is after the young Swede out in front, Daniel Davidsson, but with a lap to go. Looks as if Daniel is pulling away a little bit more, and Sebastian TRESSERU set to take his first point of the night at the expense of Tomasz Chojnowski. Of course, Tomasz Chojnowski will be back in action for a Polish select who are over in Britain for a week's tour, including a match here at Wimborne Road. And he disappoints that time, but Poole able to share the race, and it moves the scoreline on to 49-33 in their favour. On to heat 14 then, and 49-34 the scoreline. Pirates 15 ahead, and it's Bjarne PEDERSEN in red. He's on grid 4. We've got Krzysztof KASPRZAK on 2 in the blue helmet. Adam Shields having a good night so far with 7 points, including that tactical ride to his credit. Considerably more than he often gets here for Eastbourne. We've got Davey WATT in yellow helmet on grid 3, and Adam Shields is on grid 1 in green. So what can Bjarne PEDERSEN do? He had, by his very high standards, a poor gate in heat 11, and he just managed to hold on to 3rd place. And this time he'll be looking for something considerably better from grid 4, and they'll need it in order to relegate Adam Shields. But Krzysztof KASPRZAK decides it's his turn to get out of the starting gate, and that was an absolute flyer straight round Shields there. Bjarne PEDERSEN from 4 tried a wide line on the first bend. Now he's cut back to the inside and he's in 3rd place, but KASPRZAK had an absolute gem of a start that time, and although Adam Shields has been pretty useful from the gate himself tonight, he was no match there. So Krzysztof KASPRZAK out in front, Adam Shields second there in close order, and Bjarne PEDERSEN just waiting for any scraps that might fall from that duel in front. I don't think Bjarne is going to be unduly worried about this one, with it being a challenge fixture. But obviously he needs to get his wages in, so he'll be looking for any opportunity, but I think it's going to stay a 4-2. There's not been a massive amount of passing here so far this evening, apart from that notable win by Antonio Lindback. But gate has been the dominant determining factor for race wins, and it was that time, because Krzysztof KASPRZAK through from the start, takes the race 4-2 to the Pirates, and it's 53-36 the scoreline. So 17 points the advantage for the Pirates. On to heat 15, Matej FERJAN in red, and Daniel Davidsson, his 3rd race in 4, comes off grid 1 in the blue helmet. Who do you want alongside you when you already just had 2 on the trot? And of course it's Nicki PEDERSEN. So I'm sure Daniel already a little bit hot and bothered after those 2 races. He's going to be even more hot and bothered this time if he makes the gate on Nicki PEDERSEN and has to contend with him for 4 laps. Matej FERJAN on grid 3 is so far unbeaten by an opponent, so he's got 8 and a bonus, or no, 7 and 2 bonuses so far. What can he do against Nicki PEDERSEN? Matej has already had an incident-packed night without this prospect. We've got Edward Kennett for good measure, as up go the tapes, and I don't know, Daniel Davidsson didn't make such a good start that time, but Matej FERJAN has made another one of his fantastic first bends, but it wasn't good enough because got Nicki PEDERSEN blasting up the inside, and Matej went sort of towards the safety fence that time, partly self-imposed. Certainly Nicki wasn't going to help him stay on the line, and that's how it turned out to be. But once again, good to see Edward Kennett. He certainly seems to like the Poole track here this evening, because he's been in lively form, and at the moment he's holding off the challenge of Daniel Davidsson, who for one reason or another didn't make a particularly brilliant start from grid 1 that time, and so it looks as if the Eagles could get a 4-2 heat advantage. The only time they had a previous heat advantage is in 2 races where they've had tactical rides, so this one will be earned the proper way, if I can use that expression, as Nicki PEDERSEN wheelies across the line in first place. Matej FERJAN decided on safety first and tucked himself into second. Edward Kennett and Daniel Davidsson in close orders for third place, waiting on the referee's verdict there for whether Daniel did finally get up right on the line there. We'll be back with that one, but close finish there for third place. Well, we can solve the mystery of the finish there, because it was Daniel Davidsson. Look, he's gone right around the outside line, cuts back under Edward Kennett, and on the run into the line, he just gets the verdict. So far from being a 4-2 to the visitors, it's another shared race, and it makes the scoreline 56-39 to the Pirates. On to heat 16 now. Of course, rather unusual formula for this 8-rider team setup we've got tonight. And the riders in the 8 riders riding as 4 pairs, and they don't split up other than in the case of nominated reserves. In this one we've got Ryan Sullivan and Magnus ZETTERSTROM lining up against Leigh LANHAM and Dean Barker. We've got Ryan Sullivan going from grid 2 outside Dean Barker, who we're pleased to see back in the lineup. He's in yellow helmet after that rather awkward tumble in his previous race. Magnus ZETTERSTROM, with just 2 points from his 3 starts, is on grid 4 in blue. Leigh LANHAM is in the green helmet. That's the way they go, and that's a pretty good start by Ryan Sullivan, and not a bad one from the skipper Magnus ZETTERSTROM around the outside, although Dean Barker looks as if he's going to just capitalise on that inside start. Zorro's sort of moving through, and goodness gracious me, that is a sudden burst of speed there by the skipper. That hasn't been around all night, but he caught Dean Barker completely unawares that time, and came through into second place. He's riding a slightly wider line, getting out in some of the dirt there, trying to follow a similar line to Ryan Sullivan, who's blasting away out in front. Ryan only has dropped 1 point so far this evening in his 4 races. He's not going to drop anything this time with a lap to go, and an improved race from Zorro. Going to double his points tally to 4 points this time, and with a maximum 5-1. I wonder if he's going to be tempted into a little bit of dancing. We'll have to wait and see, but certainly it's maximum points to the Pirates, who now lead by 61 points to 40, and that's an encouraging race from the 2 Pirates.
So, Ryan back on song, the skipper also. It's looking good. I'm sure Neil Middleditch is a very happy man at the moment. So come on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, in the home straight. Let's have a nice round of applause for Ryan Sullivan and Magnus ZETTERSTROM. Sailors of Ease do their lap of honour and return to park firmly. The full and official result.
Heat 17 nominated riders race features Ryan Sullivan and Matej FERJAN in red and blue respectively on grids 1 and 3 respectively. For the Eagles, it's Adam Shields in the green helmet on 2, and Paul Hurry in the yellow helmet on grid 4. So Ryan Sullivan, chance to take his total to 14 out of 15 if he wins this one. And of course, Matej FERJAN, he's got 9 and 2 bonus points, so he's very much in the same boat as Ryan, as Sullivan gets a superb start that time, and he drifts the fast-skating Adam Shields, allowing Matej FERJAN to make an inside challenge, which he duly does. And although he prefers the outside line, Matej FERJAN there looking pretty useful, but Shields takes advantage of the dirt and goes around Matej. And Paul Hurry there is back in 4th spot. But Ryan Sullivan's gating prowess tonight has certainly shot him to the front of most of his rides tonight, apart from the earlier reversal in the hands of Adam Shields. Matej FERJAN that time deciding he wants to test the air fence on the pits turn. Lost a lot of ground. Now he's got Paul Hurry right on his tail as a result of that rather disappointing turn he made on lap 3. But Brian Sullivan relishing the conditions tonight, out in front, 14 out of 15, takes the race. Pirates take a 4-2 thanks to Matej FERJAN's third place, despite a very interesting and event-packed evening of 5 races for Matej. Nevertheless, well up in the scores, as he has been this latter part of the season, and that certainly augurs well for the playoffs. 4-2 makes it 65-42 in favour of the Pirates, with 1 to go. Final race of the night, Pirates holding a 23-point advantage, and the nominated riders in this one will be Krzysztof KASPRZAK in red, Bjarne PEDERSEN in the blue helmet, Nicki PEDERSEN in the green helmet, and Davey WATT in yellow. So Nicki PEDERSEN taking grid 1, Bjarne PEDERSEN grid 4. So Nicki was the victor last time they clashed, and he's got the gate advantage this time. Krzysztof KASPRZAK in the blue helmet, in the red helmet rather, alongside Nicki, and he gets an absolutely superb gate, but not so good that Nicki PEDERSEN can't just come through and make a little bit of a hole. Bjarne PEDERSEN had the difficult passage from grid 4, which meant that Davey WATT was in there to take advantage of a gap on the first bend, and as for the first time this evening, the Eagles are in a 5-1 position. Remains to be seen whether Nicki PEDERSEN can, well, I'm sure he'll hold the lead out in front, but Bjarne PEDERSEN in the blue helmet is trying to track down Davey WATT, but Davey WATT has had an improvement in form towards the end of the season, and with a lap to go, he's still in second place, and Bjarne PEDERSEN not particularly looking like he's going to make any impression as they go around the final bend. And that's going to be a 5-1 to the Eagles, because although he makes a strong challenge on the run to the flag, it looked very much to me as if Davey WATT held on to that second place. The first bend was interesting to say the least, because Krzysztof KASPRZAK did make the start, but Nicki PEDERSEN came right back at him, and Krzysztof had a fairly close look at the fence, but nothing we're not used to seeing. But the 5-1 to the Eagles means the final score, just a little bit of respectability to him at the end, because it's 66 to the Pirates and 47 to the Eagles. That's the way of it tonight then, this challenge match, first leg, and of course it certainly satisfies the principal cause of the Pirates at the moment, is to stay in top class competition in readiness for the playoffs, and that's a 19-point victory against the reinforced Eagles. And with that, we round off our coverage here at Wimborne Road this evening and bid you good night.
Well, a comfortable night's work then for the Pirates tonight. It didn't really matter, but they saw off the Eastbourne Eagles in fine style. Well, they've set themselves up for the return fixture, which is at Arlington on Saturday. And of course, then we look forward to the visit of the Polish select side here next Thursday. Well, all of that, of course, is the build-up to the playoff finals. That's the one that they really matter, and that's the one that the Pirates will really want to win. And we do now know that the visitors on that occasion, or the opponents for the playoff final, will be either Ipswich or Wolverhampton. Keep watching then as we bring you the latest news for the Pirates for 2004, and the next meeting is coming right up.